Welcome to Board Game Empire. We're going to be showing you a brief overview and review of Planet Unknown. So in this game, you're trying to colonize your own planet, get up as high as you can on the resource tracks, and in the end, hopefully beating your opponents by scoring the highest through medals that you gain on the resource tracks, through gathering the life pods, meteorites, and of course by scoring columns and rows completed on your planet where they have no empty spaces, no meteorites or life pods in that row or column. You will be using rovers. Each player gets 2 rovers that they'll be unlocking through the rover resource track, and that track also is what allows you to move your rovers. The rovers are used to collect meteorites and life pods. So those get them off your board and into your scoring and allows you to then hopefully complete as many rows and columns as you can. So in your first game, you're going to want to play the KSB 4156 planet and the Universal Coalition. Once you know the game, you can flip it over and play the other planet and corporation board, and they have asymmetric powers or abilities. So you want to start out this way, though, just so you get the game down. The space station is really easy to set up. You basically find the correctly shaped tile and orientation. There's a stack of 12 of each type that you put in these little compartments. You're going to have an inner part and an outer part. The outer part has the larger tiles, and the inner part has the smaller tiles. The game will end once one of these depots, each triangular area is a depot. As you can you see that on the camera? Each player has their depot tracker pointing from their board to the space station. And basically where that's pointing when the thing is turned around, that triangular area is your depot that you get to draw from that turn. So whoever's first player that turn will get to turn this to wherever they want, so it lands where they want it to end, and then all the other players have to choose from the depot in front of their depot tracker arrow. You're going to be placing these on your planet, again, trying to fill it up. While you're placing them, you will be gaining usually 2 resources to raise your track, but sometimes just 1, depending on what you place. When it has this little fireball symbol, you have to immediately put a meteorite down. The only way to get those off your board is by landing on it with a rover, and then you can put it over here for scoring later at the end of the game. 3 of those equal 1 point. Also, with the life pods, you can place a tile over them to get rid of them. However, they leave the game, and you don't get any points. You only have 6, and you only have 6 spots on your corporation board to earn points. So it's better, if you can, to get run it over with a rover. Then you can put it over here for scoring. But I guess near the end of the game, I should have done this. I didn't think of it. It would be better to cover it up and score on those columns and rows if you can, rather than leaving it there hoping you'll get it with a rover. So I couldn't place one because he had the last spin of the thing, and the game ends either when one person can, in your depot, if you cannot place either of the tiles. You have to place one if you can. But if it gets to the point where you can't, the game ends. So we got to that point. Or another way it ends, if in your depot one of the stacks is empty. Or is it both or one of the stacks?
2.
2 of the stacks. 2 of the stacks are empty. But that's the more likelihood is you're going to get to the point where someone can't play. So you're just, as you go up this resource track, you're going to be earning medals. You can earn CIV cards, which are all good. They give you benefits. You can either get medals at the end of the game. 1 allowed me to collect 3 of my life pods right away. Some of them let you to advance your resource trackers, so they're all good. The tech resource track unlocks abilities that enhance things you're already doing. For instance, the first level, tile adjacency placement restrictions may be ignored. Normally, you have to place your first tile has to go on the outside edge. Then after that, all other tiles have to be orthogonally placed with the previous tiles. That allows you to place them wherever, and they're not restricted. The second level, you can store biomass patches, which are these that you collect on the resource track. You can save them till the end of the game and place them instead of having to place them right away, because they're basically one square. So you can use that to fill in some squares at the end of the game to score that column or row. Level 3 allows you to move one additional space with your rover, one more than the track is allowing you. They're anywhere from 1 to 4 spaces. And then the 5th level, you're unaffected by meteor strikes, so you don't have to place meteorites anymore when you collect those tiles. So those are also all good. So you want to, I did focus more on the resource tracks and cards. Anthony focused more on filling his board.
I did the tech and the rover most.
Yeah, so he actually beat me by quite a bit, so my strategy did not work out for me. But maybe if I did a mixture more, focusing a little bit more on my board and less on the resource tracks, I may have done better. There's also neighbor goals. This is a 2-player version that we played. You're going to have these goals or objectives, I guess I should say. In the 2-player game, you use the neighbor objectives, and you place 3 of them in the middle of the 2 players. When you have more players, you're going to be placing neighbor objectives in between 2 players, so that objective only affects the 2 players that it's in between. It does not affect the whole table. But in a 2-player game, obviously, there's only 2 players, so we had 3 objectives that we were also going for, and that's an in-game scoring. So it's a very simple game to learn, very simple to set up and play. For a 2-player game, it was a fairly quick game. I think 35 minutes, maybe
35, 40 minutes.
I mean, that's not that bad for a game.
Well, yeah.
And so it's a weight, I think, of 2.2 or 2.5 or something on Board Game Geek. But this just came out last year, so it's a fairly new game, and it's, I think, very popular already.
Yeah,
it's to me, it reminds me of a scaled down Terraforming Mars in a way, but very scaled down. Terraforming Mars, we love that game, but it's more complex than this. But just the resource track, it just kind of reminds me of it a little bit. So I think I've covered everything in a nutshell.
Yeah.
What did you think of this game?
I really like the components. That's one thing Terraforming Mars components lack. The components in this game is phenomenal. I mean, I think this is the retail version, and even at the retail version, this is like what I would consider a Kickstarter version. So the components are just phenomenal. I mean, it's got the dual layer. Components are mostly wood and plastic. You got the centerpiece, and the cards are actually really, good quality. So very impressed with the quality, and the illustrations, vibrant, and the text is easy to read. So, and the rules are actually really good. So just great components. So for the mechanics, I really like this mechanics. There's so much strategy and different ways you could go. You could go civilization, water, biomass, rover, tech, and then you could use the rover to collect things. And it's just, there's so much strategies in this game. I'm very impressed with it. So as far as high replay value, because it's literally, you just put the centerpiece, and then if you want to, you can split that. It would take probably 5-10 minutes once you know what you're doing to set the game. And then it's just a 40-minute game if you're doing a 2-player. And so for the strategic element of the game and everything, and just how quick you can set it up, very impressed with this game. So overall total, I'm giving this an 8.5 out of 10. It might go up as we play it more, because this is a really good strategy game. And so very impressed. Can't wait to see what they come out with next. And I think that there is a expansion that did go to Kickstarter recently. And so they do have an expansion coming, but very impressed. I think this is their first game. And so can't wait to see what else games they come out with.
So I also enjoyed this game. It's a strategy game, but it's a relaxing strategy game. It's because there's no player interaction really, other than when you're turning this thing, you could kind of look to see what they might need. But honestly, I didn't even do that till near the end. And that would be more if you wanted to extend the game to make sure they have a play. If you have a few things you want to accomplish before the game ends, that would be a great time to look at that. But honestly, other than that, you're basically focusing on your own board, your own resource tracks. And so to me, it was a relaxing strategy game. And like he said, there are many ways to play this game as far as what you're focusing on. Like I was focusing a lot on these CIV cards, which was a good idea because there's one additional more than there are players. So in a 2-player game, there's 3 of each level, and you get 1 of each level. So you get to choose. It's first come, first serve. You get to choose which card you want out of the 3. So there were some really good ones in there, and I did manage to get those first because I focused on that track majorly. Once I saw the first ones were so good, I was like, oh yeah, this is. So I thought that would help me win, but I did not focus enough on finishing columns and rows. But he did have. He was able to not be affected by meteorites in the end. He focused on the tech resource track, which helped him a lot because that's what hurt me. I had all these meteorites left.
Well, another thing too, she didn't finish some of the key columns like this one.
Right.
Which is like 3 points.
Right.
She didn't, it's like.
I was focused way too much on the resource track. It's a balance. You have to, I know next time when we play, he will not win by so much because, and I'm guaranteeing he'll change his strategy as well and will focus more on things he didn't focus on. So you kind of hone in your strategy each time you play it. So yeah, it's a great game, and I could see how this would just be more fun each time you play because one, there's dual sided boards, so you can add more to it once you feel comfortable. You can add the asymmetric abilities, and then just it would always be different because this is always turning based on what the player wants, and you're going to be shuffling these. Will be in different orders, so it's going to be different each time that you play, and you're going to change up your strategy, especially if you're playing the same person because you already know how they played the last time. So they're going to change that up because it wouldn't work again twice in a row. But yeah, I would give this game a 9. It's definitely one that will make it to our table a lot, mainly because it does take such a short amount of time to set it up. I mean, this is stored like that in the box, right? So basically this is already set up. You'll just want to maybe go through and shuffle them up a little bit. But I mean, so only thing you would need to do is shuffle your CIV cards, set those out, shuffle and pick 3, if you're a 2-player game, 3 more of the neighbor objectives. I mean, it's and putting some rovers and your cubes out there and you're ready to go. So I definitely think this will be a game that will be popular for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And I think as more and more people discover this game, I think it'll get even more popular. So do you have anything else you wanted to say?
No. Great game. Highly recommend.
So we will put the link in the description if you want to check this out for yourself. I don't know if was it on back order you said right now or
some places there are.
Yeah, I think it's a little hit and miss of getting it, but of course you know how that goes with games.
Especially with games that just recently released.
So if you're patient, you'll be able to get it eventually. But we will put the link in the description so you can check it out. Thank you again for watching. If you're not already, we hope that you'll subscribe to our channel and click that bell so you'll get notification of our content. If you are already subscribed, thank you so much for being a fan. Thank you again for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time.